Hi everybody, welcome back to the Cubo x FIS podcast. It's Mia here from FIS, and today I'm lucky enough to be joined by Cubo Community Research Manager Lauren Jones and Senior Research Executive at GSR Ellie Catton. Hi guys, thanks so much for joining me today. Hope you're okay. It's lovely to have you on. Today we're going to be talking about consumer communities. They're something that's been around for a while in market research, but saying that, there's plenty of professionals who don't fully understand what they are and the power that they can contain when used effectively and efficiently. A community is effectively a collaborative tool, such as a forum, a smart board or question board, which allows rich discussions and conversations to take place between the participants of the board. And along with an agile research structure means that they are potentially undiscovered, we can see potentially undiscovered insights that emerge when we've got the chance. These insights can have a direct impact on the rest of the research experience and the physical results that come out of it. They're very much a bespoke thing. They're a tool and not one size fits all. They are a variety of types of these communities that can be drawn upon, but whatever the platform and for whatever the purpose that you want to use them for, they are always vast networks of creativity and endless insights. So Lauren Jones, who is the Senior Research Executive, Lauren Jones, who is the Cubo Community Research Manager, manages one such community for a Cubo client of ours, Princes. So Lauren, thank you for coming on today. Can you tell us a bit about this community that you've run? And you're running it for one of our biggest clients. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, thanks, Mia. So I currently run a community and it contains 1,300 members. They're nationally representative across the UK, and we speak to them to feedback across a wide range of food and drink concepts and products for our client. So it's bespoke to our client. We get these consumers involved right from the beginning of MPD, so from the initial exploration and ideation phases, and then right through to that final product launch. So we bring the consumers along the journey with us. And we do this across up to 15 projects at a time. So we have a lot going on with the community at any one time.
Okay, nice. And what kind of research do you do within the community?
We cover a vast array of research, both qualitative and quantitative. So at that initial stage, we can explore usage and attitudes, for example, through some in-depth interviews. Or we can use quantitative surveys and receive robust feedback, either on ideas or further down developed concepts and pack designs. And then once our client actually has products, we can send these out to community members so they can trial these and feedback through some focus groups if we'd like qualitative feedback, or we can send out surveys and get that quantitative feedback to really make sure the products that have been created live up to the initial concepts which the consumers would have assessed initially.
Okay.
We can also do some kind of fun missions with the community. So we can ask our members to go to stores, feedback what they see, or sometimes we can ask them to cook with the products that our client already has on offer and send us some videos which can be really fun and engaging. So a wide range of things that we can ask the community to do.
Okay, and just out of interest, like what is exactly your role? So you can internally manage these communities, but why should a business outsource and ask someone like yourself to manage it? What's the benefit almost of having someone like you on board?
Yeah, so the benefit is that I'm fully dedicated to the community. So I really get to know the consumers and understand the data as well. So I take that time away from our client to be able to really understand consumers, target them specifically in terms of those that are right for different projects, and just creating that relationship that means that consumers become more involved and engaged, and providing feedback throughout the whole process.
Yeah, no, I understand. That makes sense, complete sense. And I guess as well, you provide kind of that middleman between the community and the client.
Yes,
To
yeah.
save the client having to kind of deal with the community, you are that middleman and that point of contact for them. And then obviously you've got this community which you can do all of these fantastic research processes with. How would that benefit your client during an innovation process, for example?
Yeah, so the main benefit is the fact that you have your own group of consumers dedicated to you as a client. So you can involve those same consumers across the entire development process. So starting right from the beginning when you've just got some initial ideas and exploration, and then right through to that product launch, if you bring the same consumers along with you and they're your target consumers, you just ensuring that those products are distinctive, they're really targeted, and that should really aid the launch success of that product. So our clients are bringing consumers right to the heart of their decision making within the business.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other benefits. The speed of response is great. So you can gain feedback within 24 hours for consumers for really quick questions. And it's also great value. So you only have to recruit these consumers once. They're then dedicated to our client and we incentivize them as we go along. But yeah, it is great value to have your own community versus doing lots of different ad hoc projects.
Yeah, well, I completely understand. Before I worked with Cubo, it wasn't actually something that I was aware of or knew much about, but I can completely see the benefits of it, and putting the consumer at the heart of decision making is, goes along with this buzzword which we're hearing increasingly at the moment. It's this idea of co-creation and working with consumers to innovate with them. So rather than creating your product yourself and then asking the consumers about their opinion at the end when it's already been prototyped and developed and the money is already spent, doing that with them throughout makes so much more logical sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Ellie, you are a senior research executive for GSR, who is a sister company of FIS, and you're about to start an expert and consumer community which is slightly different from the one that Lauren manages, which obviously shows us how bespoke and tactile these communities can be. Can you tell us a bit about this community that you're about to start, Ellie?
Yes. So firstly, thank you for having me today. It's really great to be here with you both. So yeah, as you said, we haven't actually launched our 2 communities yet. They're literally coming out in the next 2 weeks, and we're really excited to get them underway. So what's quite exciting about the communities we're about to launch is that we've got 2 different communities. We've got a consumer community, which is basically going to be the new home to our current panel, which holds about 11,000 people.
Wow.
And then we've also got an expert community, which is basically going to be a group of experienced chefs or experts in the food and drink industry, so that we can go to each group with very different needs and functions. So I guess the benefit of our new consumer community, previously we have a style where we'd send out an invitation, either inviting someone to take part in a taste test or to complete an online survey, where now they'll be able to log on to a portal, and basically we're just going for far more engagement with the respondent, more interaction. They'll be able to talk to other people on the forum. They'll be able to take part in interactive leaderboards. They'll get a choice of vouchers to redeem, monthly prize draws, that kind of thing. So it's really just about making the investment into these respondents to get the most that we can out of them. Yeah. For the expert community, as I say, it's going to be a very different kettle of fish. We'll go there for a very different kind of purpose. So as much as it's brilliant being able to speak to your consumer, your everyday shopper, it's also, as we were just talking about with Lauren, when you are bringing people on the journey of development, it's going to be a really vital tool to be able to have that distinction between people who are experts and then your everyday consumer as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'll have such different opinions as well. Like I completely, I get that you would go to your consumer for one thing to get almost like an, opinion on one thing, and then your experts for another. But how amazing to be able to have access to industry experts who do this, the types of innovation or the types of food and beverage that you're doing every day, and getting insight from them, that is invaluable, I'm sure. And your consumers, do you split these into specific groups? So tell us a bit about how you would break up your community. Will you be doing this with the consumer community?
Yeah, so this is something that we have been doing previously, but it's something that clients find really useful. Obviously, when someone comes to us wanting to do some consumer research, it's vital that they're talking to their target market and to their relevant groups. So we've basically put a lot of time and effort into creating subgroups within our community. So, for example, vegans, dairy-free, people who are buying into flexitarian market, that kind of thing, so that they're kind of ready at our fingertips, waiting to go. So it's a very efficient way of finding what could be a little bit more expensive as a recruit for a person.
Yeah.
We've kind of got them ready to go at our fingertips. And it's all part of having a community, is that you can capture this data. So when people sign up to our community, we'll ask them, what are your interests in? Which, like, your dietary requirements, who does the cooking in the house, all of these questions, which we can then split into our recruitment criteria when recruiting for new tests. So it's just a very efficient way of getting the target market for the relevant client.
Okay, yeah, and all this is obviously quite new, so you're just getting started. So, with that in mind, Lauren, what would you say to someone like Ellie or other researchers that are thinking about starting a community or in the process of starting a community? What advice would you give them?
I would say don't underestimate the importance of engaging with the community. So it's really important, to keep these consumers, or Ellie, as you said, the experts, on board with the process and really coming along the journey with you. And some different ways to kind of keep consumers engaged. So, of course, incentivizing, but also making sure there's a variety of different tasks and research methodologies available. We always have consumers that are some that prefer qualitative elements, and some that would prefer the online surveys. So it's really great to mix it up and make sure you have, a really clear engagement plan, that you could mix up those research techniques throughout the month. In terms of keeping engagement, and probably this will also be really beneficial for the experts, it's good to feedback on how, consumer feedback is really helping our clients. So we feedback once a month with a newsletter, and it helps the community to understand how helpful they're being. And, the feedback they give really is instrumental into the decisions our client makes. So they can really get on board that they're part of this decision and part of this development process. And of course, notifying them if the products that they've helped with actually launch at the end is always really great to share.
That's such a good tip, because actually leads on perfectly to what I was going to ask next, because apart from feeling like they're being instrumental, what, Ellie, are the other benefits of being a respondent? Like, why would you spend the time and energy to feed back to one of these communities?
I think that is just it. I think it's a great bit of advice, because I think that is, speaking to members on our panel in the past, that is what they really do love about it, is they could have done a test with something and then 3 months later see it on the shelves and know that they've been a part of that. And it is a very engaging way for them to feel like they're making a difference within the food industry. I mean, obviously, of course, they do get incentivized through vouchers and things as well. And they also enter into conversations with each other. So we've got a part of our page where people can share recipes and they can share their food creations just to get conversations going. But yeah, I think it's the feeling that it's a very easy way to access a little bit of something extra that's just going to get you involved in big decisions within the food industry.
Yeah, and I would say, really get on board with, making friends with these people, making everyone feel like a community, because a role like ours, where we manage the community and where that connection between the client and the consumer is really important, to keep that engagement and make sure, you know, the feedback that our clients get is really useful and is coming from really informed and engaged consumers.
Yeah, I can imagine that these communities can quite quickly become quite stagnant if there is not someone like, you know, Ellie or Laura and yourself, who are constantly managing it and maintaining it and just, you know, keeping it alive. So thank you so much. I know how busy you both are with managing these communities. So I really appreciate your time, and thank you to everyone that listened today. I hope you found this useful and interesting. I know that I did. If you would like to know more, or if indeed you're thinking about starting, maintaining or managing a consumer community, get in touch with a member of either the Cubo, GSR, FIS team, and we'll be happy to help. But that's all for now. Thank you again, Lauren and Ellie. And
Thanks, Mia.
See you soon.
Thanks very much, Mia. Bye.
Bye.